Hey guys, welcome back to another Monday night live edition of BMX Coach Live. I'm your host, three-time Olympic coach Greg Romero. If we haven't met and you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you guys get notified when I post and when I go live. Welcome back. It's been an awesome weekend. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, a great week. Hope you guys had a great weekend and an upcoming week. Let's see who's in the live feed. We always have a really big chat that shows up. Always down to show up and support the BMX training channel and the community. We have Andy Lim, JP, Yeah Boy, Backstage Moto, Connor Nyland. There's someone up here from Portugal, but for some reason I can't see it because one of my pinned messages is right in the way. Anyways, what we got going on tonight is that we're going straight into live questions. All right, I have a short night tonight over here, and so let's just get straight into it. Yeah Boy says he subscribed right now. Thank you very much, Yeah Boy. I'm grateful for that, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks like we have. Let's see here. We have a question coming in from Andy Lim. Hi, Coach G. How do you compensate for certain starting hills like Rock Hill? Amateur hill where the ramp meets the dirt at the bottom. Now, that's not enough context for me, Andy. Are you asking if like there's like a big kink? Please give me more context. I'll come back to that. You know, it's funny. One of the things I got to do is I got to launch this.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now.
Nitro with the nice flow.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now. Let's go. Stay focused, hear the heat come. Concentrate to the sound of the beat drum. Yeah. Start it up, take it back now. Check it out. This is how it's going down. Yeah.
All right, we can't do an Ask Coach G section without that. Yeah, let's get straight into it. So, Andy, I don't know if you are able to give me more context. Maybe there's a delay. I'm not seeing a whole lot of action coming through on my computer, and it's a little bit slow. So let me look and see what's going on. Please forgive me. Anyways, you know, the reason why I do this show is because we want to help out newer and younger riders of our sport. If you guys can, make sure that you guys share the video and also take the knowledge that us as a community help each other with and share that amongst others. The more people we can get in the sport, the better. But more importantly, the people that are already in the sport, if we can get them to thrive, have more fun, experience their potential, and sustain it, then they're going to be around the sport longer. And the more people that are in our sport, the more fun it's going to be, is it not? I mean, you know, have you ever been to, you know, it's almost like showing up to a track and no one's there. It's hard to vibe off of that. So the bigger the crowd, you know, the bigger the session, if you will, right? Like the more fun you're going to have. And it's always fun to see you guys here live as well. So Thunder Midget says, hey, happy Monday, Coach. Steve Dagger Jr. says, hey. Lawando has a question. All right. So it looks like the feed is working. And let's see, Andy Lim asked a question earlier. Hi, Coach G. How do you compensate for certain starting hills like Rock Hill, where on the amateur hill, where the ramp meets the dirt at the bottom? And then he also followed up and said, yes, the kink at the bottom, he had to stop pedaling to get over it. Yeah, sometimes, you know, you have to look at that kink as an obstacle in itself. And so you're going to have to stop pedaling from time to time. If you could pedal all the way through it, even better. You know, the Supercross starting hill at Rock Hill, obviously, it's hard for the pros to pedal through that, because here's the thing. We actually did some really cool testing at the Olympic Training Center over here in Chula Vista. One of my good friends that owns Renan Design, George Costa, he developed a power meter. And this is a true story. This was back in 2007. We decided to do some power testing with Mike Day and Jill Kittner. And so we put this power meter on there, and we were able to even measure things like G-force. And we quantified and found out that at the bottom of the Supercross starting hill, the riders were actually imposed a demand of 2.5 G's of force. That's 2.5 times your body weight. And so, how is that relevant to, say, the Rock Hill? Well, there's still a little bit of G-force, especially in that kink. So it is kind of hard to pedal through that, especially when your body's compressing and you have to have that strength just to take on that kink, take on that force that's being imposed. So you might have to look at that kink as an obstacle in itself. So when we first started training back at the Olympic Training Center in 2007, the kink, we tried pedaling through it and it just got guys squirrely. And so I looked at it like this, like, look, man, the race, that's pretty much your first jump. So something like Rock Hill, where, it might be advantageous to just get a micro pause coast, use that, think of that as an obstacle, pedal hard all the way to it, get a nice pump through it, and then get back on the gas. Have another question coming in. Let's see here. Yeah, boy says, let's see if this is a question or if it's a comment. Every time I'm at the gate and I hear the words "Riders ready, watch the gate," I get very nervous and start shaking. Got any tips on how to not get nervous? Man, we talk about this every week. Basically, nervousness is the same physiology as excitement. Yeah, man. So all you need to do is reframe what that feeling means to you. Nervousness is just basically it's an alarm that lets you know that, hey man, you're about to go into fight or flight mode. Fight or flight means basically like listen, like the human brain's 2 million years old. So if we go back in time, way back when we were cavemen, we're always looking for threats because we're basically in a survival state. So we're always in fight or flight. Unfortunately, it's hard to be creative. It's hard to be in the flow state. Okay, what does that mean? Basically, fight or flight is you're either looking to fight or you're looking to run, right? You're looking to run away from a threat. And so you have to reframe that nervousness and literally tell yourself, you know what? I'm just excited. I'm excited to get out of the gate. I'm excited to go fast. I'm excited to bang elbows. I'm excited to get the whole shot. And so you need to literally change your self-talk, because what's happening is this nervousness that you're experiencing, and this is different for everybody, but you have your own meaning in which it's very unconscious. So you might not know what that means. You might need to just ask yourself, hey, why am I getting nervous? And ask your unconscious mind. Literally, I mean, you want to do this, do this in your bedroom, whatever, right? And think about a time in the past and look through your own eyes and literally ask yourself, for what purpose am I getting nervous at the gate? And whatever comes up, maybe you don't want to crash. Maybe maybe you have some fear of failure. I don't know. I'm just kind of like throwing some mind reads out there, but there's many reasons why people get nervous, right? They're afraid of success. They don't want to get hurt. Okay, those are two really big ones, and those are unconscious because it's like, well, that's silly. Shouldn't I have a really strong mind and not focus on not getting hurt, and not focus on, failing? Well, it gets really complicated, right? We're not going to go too deep into that, but basically what you need to do is you need to reframe that and make sure that instead of it being a move away, meaning moving away from fight or flight, like trying to run from it, what would you rather run towards instead? And so that's why I say you could reframe it by just simply saying, you know what, I'm going for the whole shot. I'm going for the win. I'm going out of the gate to go fast. And this is why I feel this way. And when I feel this way, I'm going to go fast. And when I want to go fast, I'm going to feel this way. So you have to change the loop, change the association of what that feeling is. And that just takes time, right? So you need to practice that pretty much when you're doing sprints, obviously, because when you're away from the track, there's alone time and you get some sprints in and you can work on your self-talk and you can work on that feedback loop of what you're consciously thinking associated to that kinesthetic feeling. Because what you're feeling is what you're thinking is what you're feeling, right? That's kind of like how anxiety starts. Once that loop starts looping, it's hard to stop, man. It's really hard. That's why you see people, I mean, I'm going really deep here, but this is why people deal with anxiety. I've dealt with it before. It's when you associate a thought and it loops and it sticks and it sucks, man. So, yeah, you just need to retrain that. And then when you go to the track, when you get into the gate, focus on your motivation in terms of what you're moving towards, not in a way, but moving what you want instead, right? What do you want? You want to go fast. You want a hole shot. You want to bang elbows. And I'm feeling excited about it. Hopefully that helps. Let's see here. Omar says, hi all. Omar, ask your best question, man. We got about another 20 minutes. So I'm going to go through as many questions as I can. Lawando Massetti asks, how do we transfer the same performance that we put in practice into racing? Tend to be faster in practice than I am in racing. Yeah, I agree. That's always seems to be the case. And here's one of my theories. When you're practicing, number one, there's nothing on the line. There's no pressure. You can perform, and there's nothing to lose. When you're racing, there's things to lose. There's pressure. It means something. So how can you get your best performance from practice and transfer it to racing? You basically need to replicate what you're going through, what your mind state is, right? What your mind is going through in terms of a mind state, right? If you could recall a time when you had an awesome practice, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? More importantly, what did you feel during that practice when you felt like everything was happening easily and effortlessly? When you felt super powerful coming out of the gate? Where you felt super smooth? When you felt, super confident? Oh, maybe maybe that's everything you're feeling. And you want to anchor those feelings and then access and trigger that anchor rather. So you want to get all those feelings, make them an anchor, and then trigger the anchor at the races. You want to replicate the state, right? The performance mind state. And that's what some of the best athletes are doing. They're able to access their personal best that they get in practice by simply replicating the mind state that they have in practice in their racing. Now, here's the key. The thing is that when the racing counts and there's people there that you don't normally see, or there's more announcing, there's more energy, those are all just simple distractions that are trying to shift you out of state. So you have to have an anchor that gets you back into state. That means, going with breath work. You have to be able to get back to a place where you're in the state of flow, right? The state of flow is when you're in the present moment, in the present time, and you're letting everything unfold naturally, right? You're not worried about what's happening in the past and not too concerned about the future. You're operating in the present moment. And really at the end of the day, when you're practicing, that's what's happening. You're in the present moment, man. So you got to get back into the present moment. Performance mind state and the state of flow. What other questions do we have here? RNG Redline. How can I get through the track faster? How can I get through the track faster? I see many people manualing and jumping, but I can't seem to get myself to manual right and know where to manual. Find myself rolling over everything. Okay, RNG, are you capable of manualing? Are you manualing now? Are you able to manual with confidence? Are you able to do it with competence? I can't really answer that question unless you could answer my question. I'll come back to you, man. Here we go. Sam Don't Care. I love that name. Sam Don't Care. He don't care. He don't give a shit. Hey coach, I'm having trouble with people cutting me off. Do you have anything to help me? Tell them to stop cutting you off. Oh man, too easy, right? No, listen, the thing is that you got to work on your reaction time out of the gate. And before you do that, you want to make sure that your gate's configured properly. You want to make sure your starting stance is good, but you're getting a good reaction pop, right? Like you're getting to that first pedal stroke. And more importantly, are you getting into the second pedal acceleration position properly? If you're doing all those things are you doing sprint training? Or what are you doing to work on your power? Are you doing any alternative off the bike strength training? What are you doing to work on your strength or power there? If you're doing all those things, then keep doing it. And if you're still getting cut off, then maybe perhaps you need to work on your mental performance mind state as well. There's so many things that you can do, right? Like, I don't know why you're getting cut off. Maybe the guy is just simply faster than you. I don't know. Maybe you're nervous and you're just not performing. I don't know. So if you can give me more context, I can help you. Alum House, here we go. Here's a gait question. How much pressure should be on the front foot that doesn't result in the front wheel going up versus shoulders going forward? Is this before the gate drops? I know for me personally, I prefer to be really light on my feet. Literally, I'm just like, I'm able to kind of bounce around and literally have even pressure between the front and rear foot. And I'm just waiting like a cat, just ready to react. Okay. You don't want a whole lot of pressure on that front foot, because you're basically pre-contracting that muscle, and what's happening is when you're doing that, you're kind of losing that rubber band effect, right? So you kind of want to be a little bit light on the feet and be reactive like a cat. Equipment questions, I'm not really good. Yeah, boy, he's asking me silly questions here. We'll have to address it. It's pretty funny. He says, my old head is getting too small for me, and I was wondering if you had suggestions on where to buy some new gear. Yeah, just, I don't know. Okay, he said, I meant my old gear, not my old head. Online, I don't know. Go to your local shop, go to the local track and see if they'll order some stuff for you. That's where I would go. I know it's hard, right? Like back in the day, we used to have BMX shops. I know where I grew up in a city called San Ramon, we had a couple bike shops that carried a lot of BMX stuff. And today it's really hard to find, is it not? Local bike shops aren't really carrying BMX stuff unless there's a BMX track in town. But the thing is that there's, at your local BMX track, there's usually a vendor. Usually the track operator will carry some stuff. If not, then there's a vendor. So hit up the vendor at the track. Here we go. Peter McHugh from Australia. Hello, Greg from Australia. What training would you recommend when my bike is stuck in another country, been without a bike for almost a year and finding it hard to get focused? Dude, what's going on with that? That's crazy. Peter, assuming that you're old enough to, if you're old enough to have a YouTube account, okay? Actually, I shouldn't say that, because I pretty much kids can have a YouTube account, but I'm presupposing that you're probably an adult. So strength training, going to the gym. I know we're dealing with COVID, but some countries are just pretending like it doesn't exist. And some people are just not having as many issues as, say, here in San Diego. But go to the gym, work on your strength training, work on your flexibility. You can also, get on a stationary bike, work on intervals. If not, go to the track and see if they will rent you a bike. It says bike was in transit when COVID hit. Yeah, man, that's a bummer. Connor Nyland. Hey, coach, this up and coming season is going to be my first season with clips. What should I work on first? I would work on clipping in and out. When you get on clips, you're going to want to learn to clip in and out. I would work on doing figure 8 turns in a bicycle friendly, safe parking lot, and I would practice clipping out on the inside foot of each turn and clipping right back in. I'm telling you, man, it's awesome when you guys can practice that, because you'll be more confident if you need to clip out. But more importantly, that was probably one of the hardest things for me, if I can recall, is when I clipped in, it's like, well, how the heck do I get out of these things? And you're riding up a jump and you want to stop, or you need to stop, and it's like, oh man, I don't know how to clip out, and you just fall over. I remember doing that the first time. I never done it on a BMX bike, but I remember doing that on a road bike. That was hilarious. It happened at an intersection. Here we go. Roscoe H. Looks like he has a training strategy question for the upcoming racing season. Hey coach, we're about 10 weeks out from the start of the season in my area. You think it would be more beneficial to do another month of off-season strength training or start working on sprints and plyo? Yeah, it just depends on what you're trying to achieve with your strength training. Here's the thing. This is what we know is working for all my Olympic athletes, all my athletes in my Winter Circle program, all the athletes for the most part that are enjoying success, their potential and sustaining it. We're lifting year round. Okay. So we're lifting year round. I think that strength training needs to be happening all the time. Okay. And being that our seasons pretty much for the most part here in America, we're year round. Sprints, I have no problems with people doing sprints year round, especially, I mean, obviously if you have a month off and you want to take a break, then yeah, take a break from the bike. Just put the bike away and cover it and don't even look at it. BMX Racing, we're not known to having an off season here in America specifically. Now, I do have some guys in the Northeast they're not racing. They're not able to go to the track. I have some guys in Minnesota where the indoor track's closed because of COVID, but they can't ride outside because of sleet and snow and the ground is cold, so they can't sprint outside. However, they're doing interval training. They're doing strength training. So we're always working on strength for the most part. And if not, we're maintaining it during the race season. So you want to figure out a way to not only get strong, but also to work on your power specifically in the gym, and then figure out some kind of maintenance program where you're doing it week after week, especially the week of a race. It's important because we're an explosive sport. We are strength and power athletes, and it's crazy how fast we can lose strength and power just by simply taking a week or two off. Now in terms of sprints and plyos, I would definitely start working on sprints and plyos at least once a week, right? At least once a week, especially if you're not going to the track. Hopefully that helps, Roscoe. Drew Polk. Hello, coach. How you doing, Drew? Hope all is well. I know you're getting ready for the 17 to 20, 20X, 17 to 20X class here in 2021. So I'm wishing you the best of luck. Jake Norrish, he asked, hey coach, I'm 15 and I'm running 46.16. And I feel like I'm not very fast out of the gate. What gear ratio would you recommend for riders around my age? Thank you. Yeah, 46.16 is pretty hard. I would say that's even hard for like most pros. So I would consider starting somewhere in the happy medium, which is 44.16, right? For some reason, that is the magical number. It's a gear that you can easily get on top of and explode out of the gate. And it's also a gear that you could get up to speed and accelerate to the first jump. And it's also a gear that you could easily maintain around the track. So I would go, especially when you're 15 and I don't know if you're just starting out, but maybe perhaps you are, especially, if you're 15, you want to figure out a gear that complements you from start to the finish line, right? Like at the end of the day, that's key, right? Especially when you're starting out. Peter McHugh. Thanks, Greg. Hey, you're welcome, man. Ben Larson. Hi, coach. Just a simple hi. He doesn't have any questions. All right, let's see here. Jacob James. What do you mean by complex training? Tell me. Are you talking about like coupling? Like doing an exercise and then jumping into another exercise right away? Omar De Jesus. At my local track here in Nashville, I'm running a 41 tooth sprocket with 175 millimeter cranks. I feel top out by the first table. Do you recommend to go up to 42 tooth or keep working on sprints to keep improving speed? Please forgive me. I don't know. I'm pretty much a 44.16 guy, so I don't know what you're running in the back. 41. I presuppose you're probably running a 14 in the back. Are you on a 20 inch? Are you on a cruiser? Or you got to give me more context. Gear questions are always tough for me, but like this other kid who's 15 who's like, hey, I'm running a 46.16 and can't get out of the gate with it. It's like, yeah, man, like get back to a normal gear, right? Come back to earth, run the 44. For you, I don't know. If you're spinning out, then yes, I think you're pretty much answering your own question here, Omar. Yeah, well, keep working on your sprints and your ability to spin that high cadence so you're not topped out. I think it's okay to be topped out, man, because you want to be topped out, especially before the first jump. Like the last one or two pedal strokes, you want to be wound out, especially after the first jump, you want to be wound out. And, because if you're running a hard gear, more than likely, especially if there's a lot of competition, it's hard to get on top of that gear. And yeah, sure, it's great that, you got some meat under your feet, if you will. Like if the gear is really hard, you feel like you have a lot of resistance, but it's no good if you're in 4th or 5th place, man. So I would definitely go for a gear. The way I always tell people is, especially if you're trying to get the whole shot, you want to find a gear that complements your acceleration out of the gate. More importantly, your reaction out of the gate, so you can, and then accelerate out of the gate. But more importantly, a gear that you could train your legs to spin going into the first turn. And at the same time, you're going to want to be able to, train your fitness to keep up with that cadence around the track. All right. I always say train the motor before you start messing with the gears. Right. I think you can get I think there's a big neurological response when it comes to training. It's crazy how humans are. I mean, we're freaking awesome, man. I mean, we can adapt to anything. So if you whatever gear you want to run, the more training you do, the easier it's going to be for you. To a certain extent, like if you're like my man up here, the 15-year-old running 4616. Okay, I mean, he might be able to run that. Maybe in a couple years he's going to have to get stronger, but right now that doesn't make any sense. All right, Omar says thanks. Scott says thanks. Okay, Jacob James, he asked a question. Could you please explain complex training and how it benefits us as BMX racers? Thanks. And then I asked him a question like, what do you mean by complex training? Because in my mind, complex training is pretty much doing a heavy exercise, and then as soon as you finish that heavy exercise, you drop the weight safely, and then you move into some kind of power specific or speed specific, some kind of velocity type exercise. And that's what he's alluding to. So it's a good question. So he says, yeah, the heavy lifts, then something like a box jump, for example. Yeah, so that's pretty much, complex training is based upon the premise of potentiation. Basically, what you're doing is you're recruiting muscle motor units, and you're stimulating and activating that nervous pathway, right? That nervous system pathway, the neurological pathways, excuse me. And then what you're doing is while that's turned on and stimulated and excited, you're training the velocity by jumping into, like you said, a jump squat, or it could be some kind of triple extension exercise with light weight. Really, really good thing to do. Another example would be something like, if you have it like this, you could do some heavy squats, do 2 or 3 reps, do a 2 or 3 rep squat. And then if you have your bike, assuming that you're on flat pedals, you could just jump on your bike and do a sprint, and maybe sprint for like literally 2 seconds. And you're going to benefit with the idea of potentiation. It's effective. It's fun. It takes a lot of energy. You have to be well trained in strength training. Like if you're just like going through some base training where you're doing a lot of reps and you're building up a base of strength, that doesn't make any sense. But when you get to the point where you're working on maximal power, where you're maximizing force, and at the same time you want to take advantage of that window of opportunity of the neurological pathway being opened up, and you want to work on some velocity, then you could do that. I personally, I'll do it from time to time. I don't have all of my guys do it. I do it even at the age of 46. I'm just messing around in my gym here. I'll do it. And in fact, I did it. That's how I hurt my foot, in fact, because I was a little bit tired. I was doing single-legged squats, and then I turned around and I was doing these single-leg depth jumps onto a box, and I got fatigued at the end. I got tired, and I clipped my foot, and I sprained my foot, man, and been hobbling around for a week. So It's not for everyone. All right, we're reaching 6 o'clock. We'll take a couple more questions. I appreciate you guys. I'm so grateful to be your coach. And let's see here. Jake Norris, he has another question. Hey, Greg, to follow up with my last question on lower gears, my leg speed can't keep up with the gear. What type of exercises would you recommend for focusing on leg speed other than sprints? Ooh, well, here's the thing. Leg speed is going to be something that needs to be repeated, right, in a short amount of time for a given amount of time. So for example, like if your leg speed, if you're getting topped out, I don't know, for like 3 pedal strokes, if you will, 3 full pedal strokes, which is roughly about, I don't know, 45 feet, right? Yeah, 45 feet. Maybe you do some plyometrics, right? For 3 seconds where you're just, it's light and, and it's going to need to be something cyclic, meaning it has to be bang, 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 right? There's all kinds of different things that you could do. Maybe you could do split squat jumps really fast. Bam, 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 bam. Other than that, I really think that at the end of the day, what you could do to bump up your leg speed, you could find a bicycle friendly area that has a downhill pitch and just start pedaling at speed, coast for a second, and then wind it out and try to keep that cadence up. The other thing that you could do is you could put on a really, really ridiculously easy gear on your bike and spin the heck out of that, right? Now you're saying 43. Let's see, Jake, was Jake the guy? Yeah, Jake was asking about the 4616. So he said he tried. The reason why he's putting on a 4616 is because his leg speed was, he wasn't able to keep up with his leg speed with an easier gear. Bro, BMX is leg speed, man. Like everyone has a problem keeping up with an easy gear. You're just gonna have to train it. I would do downhill sprints. I would put that easy gear on and just spin it. Just spin it, man. Yeah, boy, how long is this stream going on? I'm planning on going for a half hour. It's already 6 o'clock, so I'll take a couple more questions. Got to keep it short tonight. I have some other obligations. I have a meeting here. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? There was another one here by JP he asked. Wanted to get to that. Where you at, JP? Hey, Coach, how did you become an Olympic coach? I was curious. Yeah, that's a great question. So, long story short, basically back in 2005, I was already coaching other riders, professional riders, as I was racing pro, and I was in the 9th inning of my career, if you will. And if you're a hockey guy, then I was in the 3rd period of my career, right, and looking for overtime, right. And so, look at this. I'm getting a text from somebody. Her 1RM is increased tremendously, and she's texting me, so that's pretty cool. Getting distracted. She needs to be on the show and watching this. Let's see here. So, yeah. So I was back in 2005. I was coaching. I was in the 9th inning of my career, and I was actually already coaching other professional riders that I was actually racing. I just love giving back like that, right? Like it didn't matter because at the end of the day, it's like we still have to execute, and if I can make others better, it was going to make me better, especially as a racer. And so, honestly, I think coaching and guiding and mentoring was just always in my DNA. It was just something that happened easily and effortlessly, if you will. 2006, USA Cycling, there was a guy that was appointed to head up the BMX program. And I knew him, I had a relationship, and he wanted to know if I was interested in coming in and doing some coaching. So I actually ran the very first high performance camp for USA Cycling back in 06 or 07 at the Colorado Springs Olympic Training Center. And so, it was just, I just kind of got involved, right? It was just one of those things. Like I just easily manifested it. It was just like, I want to be a coach. I want to be a successful coach, and I want to coach at the Olympic Games. And I just put that energy out there, and I was prepared for it. So, that's kind of like, long story short, that's kind of how I got involved. And then, did it for 3 Olympic Games, and it was a lot, man. There was a lot of travel, and I'll tell you what, As a coach, it's stressful because you're dealing with you're dealing with people's dreams, hopes, and ambitions, man, and that tends to put a lot of pressure on a guy like myself. So, yeah, it was a really really tough gig, and being at the races were always stressful, right? Like we would show up, we'd be at some World Cup for a week, and man, super stressful. There's no leisure time. It's pretty much a 24-hour job. You're there 7 days. You're traveling, not getting a whole lot of sleep. It's not for everyone. And then after that, when you get back, you got to get back home and you got to start coaching and continuously training. I don't know how guys in professional sports, like guys for hockey teams, right? Guys in football, I don't know how they do it because it is nonstop. These guys eat, sleep, sport all day long, and it's really tough. Honestly, I love what I do now. I love being a part of the community and giving back to you guys. And I'm able to be creative and do other things outside of the sport. So anyways, thank you for the question. I really appreciate the personal question here. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Yeah, boy says, thanks for answering my questions. That really helped. Right on, man. Let's see here. Snowman, what are your favorite brand flat shoes and pedals? That's such a tough question. Today, honestly, I like clips, so I might not be the best guy to ask. Maybe some guys in the community, they're really good about helping each other. They can help you, Snowman. If you're to ask me, I like Vans, and like I got some like old flat pedal shoes. Like I'm so old school, I'll just run whatever's in the house. I'm not really on trend when it comes to the latest and greatest. That's what happens when you get old school. But don't get me wrong, in road cycling, I have all the latest and greatest stuff. Let's see, here's another question. All right, another gear question, my favorite. I'm kidding. I'm 18, running 175 cranks, and I run a 44/16. I want more power in my legs. What's the main workout you suggest? I'm always doing sprints. Squats or single-legged squats, anything that works on the triple extension chain. The triple extension is pretty much your hip, knee, and ankle joints extending all the way through, right? Like coming out of the gate and also pedaling. So we want to do strength exercises that will increase or enhance your power. Again, power is an equation of strength over time, right? Strength recruited over time. So that strength times velocity, okay? So the best way to get more powerful, to get more power in your legs, is to work on strength, right? And then you're working on velocity with sprints on the bike, work on the strength. That's always going to be the limiting factor when it comes to power. So power is strength times speed. Hopefully that's helpful. And I would say that's a wrap. We're 40 minutes in. I was going to go 30 minutes. So guys, I'm really grateful. I'm curious. I'm curious to know if you guys learned anything. Let me know in the comments below. If you guys are watching on the replay, if you guys learned anything or have anything to share, leave in the comments below. And if you guys found any value, check out my website over at bmxtraining.com. If you guys want to support me, check that out, see if it's a fit. And if you find it a fit, become a member and support me that way. Again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be your coach. One last question. I'm curious to know if you guys would be okay with me shifting the live show on a Tuesday night at 5:30 as opposed to Monday, because I'm starting to get a lot more work and a lot of things are happening in the early week and it's jamming up my Monday. But I do have some free time on Tuesday. Let me know in the comments below if that would work really well with you. If not, then I'll keep doing this on a Monday. However, it's going to have to be kept short. It's going to have to be kept short for other obligations I have going on in my life. Andy Lim says, "What's there's look? I see questions. I just want to answer them." Andy Lim, what's an appropriate age? To start lifting weights. For me, I started lifting at the age of 13, straight up. Thunder Midget says he appreciates the Monday nights. I do too. I love Monday night. That's why I started. Monday night's an easy one. Kiwi John, oh man, just got here. Yeah, man, sorry, man. Please forgive me. We're taking off. JP says Tuesday is fine. Jake Norris says, thanks. I'll make sure to experiment with my gear ratio. Jake, yeah, I would just put the 44-16, do some sprints with the 42, and then throw the 44 on when you go to the track and keep that on. Andy Lim says, thank you. Thunder says, Tuesday will work. I'll keep you guys posted. Again, Jake, it's already Tuesday where I'm from. You must be on the other side of the date line, right? You're going to be in Australia, I presuppose, or New Zealand. Or if you're up late, you're probably in Europe, right? Like it's like 3 or 4 in the morning over there. Omar says, I love Monday because he practices Tuesday. RNG, Cape Coral, Gators, anyone going? All right, guys, I can hang out here all day, but I got to get going. Again, if you guys want to support me, check out bmxtraining.com and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and also leave a comment and like the video. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be your coach, and I'll see you guys next week. You guys have a good one.